Welcome to My Healing is Your Healing, a podcast for the woman who is ready to stop performing and reclaim her voice. I'm your host, Celeste, and around here, we don't do surface level. We go deep. Each week, we'll explore concepts like self-discovery, radical honesty, and the kind of healing that rewrites your story from the inside out. This is a space for truth-telling, for remembering who you are, and for coming home to yourself, louder, braver, and more radiant than ever. So come as you are, and let's do this together. Let's begin. Welcome back to My Healing is Your Healing. This is episode 3. If you're here, chances are you're carrying a quiet, aching exhaustion. Not just the kind that sleep fixes, but the kind that builds from performing, from pleasing, from overthinking, from living under the weight of imposter syndrome, from hearing your inner critic speak to you louder and far meaner than your own truth. This episode is for the woman who's tired of pretending, tired of a life that doesn't feel like her own. So let me ask you, have you ever felt like you're constantly auditioning for your own life? Have you ever felt like you're playing a role, smiling, saying the right things, keeping the peace, just to keep everything afloat? Do you struggle with imposter syndrome, like everyone's just one question away from exposing you? Do you hear the voice of your inner critic louder than the voice of your own knowing? And be honest, how kind is that voice really? Does it sound like a friend? Or is it a bully? Do you stay busy, helpful, accommodating, hoping it'll finally make you feel worthy? Have you ever whispered to yourself, I'm doing everything right, so why do I still feel so disconnected from my own life? You are not alone. And you're not broken. But you might be tired. Tired of carrying a life that looks fine from the outside, but feels empty on the inside. That's what this episode is about. So let's close our eyes for a second. Can you imagine waking up every morning and feeling excited? Not for someone else, not for your job title or your to-do list, but for your own life. Can you imagine feeling lit up from the inside? Not dragging yourself out of bed, not numbing with your phone, scrolling, or shopping, or for someone else's energy. Not putting on a face, but rising into the day because you actually want to be there. Can you imagine loving your own company, laughing at your own jokes, dancing barefoot in the kitchen, smiling at your own reflection because you are proud of the woman that you're becoming? Can you imagine living a life in alignment with your core values, what you really care about, and a sense of deep purpose that fuels your joy? That life is not a fantasy. It's your future self calling you home. So, why me? Why this podcast? Well, because I've been there. I've spent years doing the things I thought would make me happy, collecting the degrees, pushing for promotions, performing perfection. I followed the rules, I stacked the titles, and yet I still ended up numb and disconnected and wondering whose life I was actually living. I'm not here because I figured it all out, but I am here because I went first, because I am willing to tell the truth, my truth. I've lived all of the awkward years. I've hit the rock bottom moments. I've sat on the cold bathroom floor whispering, what now? I've cried in showers, in cars, in the middle of conversations that I couldn't even finish. And through stories, through a little bit of silliness, some sadness, a lot of truth, in a deep well of hope, I started building my way back home to myself. My stories may not be your answers, but maybe, just maybe, they'll offer you a key that you didn't even know you were looking for. Not because I have a map, but because sometimes hearing someone else's truth unlocks something in your own. So, what can you expect from the My Healing is Your Healing podcast? Well, raw, unfiltered storytelling, reflections that meet you where you are. You'll hear my stories, yes, but also the stories of other women. Women I know, women I admire, women like you, coaches, friends, even strangers whose stories have struck a chord. Some episodes will make you laugh, and some will make you cry, and some may stir something inside of you that you've buried for years. A lot of these episodes will explore core identity, personal truths, and the deeper work of self-discovery. We will talk about self-worth and self-trust. We'll explore personal power and boundaries and nervous system regulation, shame and identity. We'll talk about core values, about alignment, about living your purpose instead of just checking the boxes. Each time that you walk away from an episode, you'll have something real to take with you. A ritual, a practice, a journal prompt, a mindset shift, a grounding tool for those days when everything feels just a little too loud. We'll talk about unlearning and remembering, about grief and about growth, and about radiant living, the kind that starts from the inside and makes its way out. This isn't a podcast where you listen and forget. It's a podcast where you come back to yourself, one episode at a time. So what does my healing is your healing actually mean? It means healing does not happen in a vacuum. It means that when I say something out loud, something I thought made me broken, you might be sitting there quietly nodding to yourself and thinking, me too. And that makes something shift. Because in that moment, we both become more whole. Because healing is not about having all of the answers. It's about realizing that we are not alone. It means that every time a woman speaks her truth, she lights the path for another woman to speak hers. It means that sometimes you need to hear the same message 100 times before it finally lands for you on that 101st time. We don't always know when it's the right time to listen or when something will finally click for us. Sometimes we have to live a little bit more before we're ready to hear it. But when we are ready, everything changes. My healing has happened because of women who came before me, because of people who shared their stories when I was still silent. And now I share mine with you so that you can share yours. This isn't just a podcast. It's a shared space, a collective remembering, a reclamation. And the core belief of this podcast is that you are not too much. You were never meant to dim your light. You were never meant to wear masks just to make yourself feel worthy. You were never meant to shrink so others could feel more comfortable, or for you to question your own enoughness. But the world taught you to. You learned to wear those masks to feel safe because they worked. You created them for a reason, and they worked until they didn't. Until you started to feel that quiet disconnect. Until you began to wonder, is there more than this? This podcast is about honoring what protected you. It's about helping you choose to set it down and then learn something different. It's about asking, What if nothing is wrong with me? What if everything I've been through is information about my healing? And what can I learn from that to move forward? It's about recognizing the patterns, the cycles, the identities that were placed on you, and then gently choosing to rewrite that script. Because becoming the radiant woman you were always meant to be, that's not just personal, it's collective. And we're all doing it here together. So, if this episode landed with you, share it with someone who's ready to heal out loud with you. Tag me on Instagram at myhealingyourhealing and let me know what part resonated with you. And if you're ready for more, hit subscribe or follow so you don't miss out on the next chapter of this journey. This is just the beginning. Until next time, keep showing up, keep growing, and remember, you were never meant to dim your light. Thanks for tuning in and being here, for healing out loud, and for walking this path beside me. If this episode cracked something open or helped you remember a part of yourself, pass it on and share it with someone you love. For more support, free resources, or the next steps to your journey, head over to my website, myhealingisyourhealing.com. And if you loved today's conversation, subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Your words help this space grow and help more women find their way home to themselves. If I was your muse today, then my healing is your healing. Until next time.